What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Today we are going over our first crafted weapon from the Season of the Deep with the Rapacious Appetite, that SMG in our kinetic slot, which is a stasis weapon. Now we have a couple different stasis SMGs at this point. Right here is a 750 RPM. Feels very good in my opinion for PvE. PvP, it's the taken version of the bug out bag, so definitely get to grabbing these at the H.E.L.M, doing your story missions, those salvage, as well as those deep dives. Now, for the origin trait on this weapon, increase handling, reload, and stability when no abilities are fully charged. So this definitely takes account more in PvE, even with ability spam, because I do find myself holding on to my abilities a little bit longer inside of the Crucible. But when you do a melee and grenade combo, you get these to proc very nice, and it is a nice little increase to that stability like I've been saying. This thing needs it, definitely, for that PvE and PvP realm to help at that middle to longer range fights. Now for PvP, I'm gonna go with stability on this. As you can see our stats, we got that 55, 35, and 53 for those three important stats in range, stability, handling. Just felt like this thing needed this stability on it so you could compete a little bit better at those mid-range fights. Now, I know that we got the Immortal obviously in this slot as well, but this thing does slap decently hard in this because of our perks that we have on it, and we can craft this out. So we have small bore as the range and stability to get these stats you see on the right. Next, we have that ricochet rounds again for stability and range, allowing us to have that mid-range fight ability compared to some of our other SMGs. And with the rolls that we have in our third and fourth column, we can compare it to the Immortal. Does a little bit less damage and a little slower TTK, but it is still very good, like I said. Now, those rolls are the perpetual motion. You will go enhance once I get it up there, but this will help us gain that stability, handling, and reload speed when we're in motion. So that stability is definitely one of the most clutch, as well as handling for the PvP realm, so we can switch on and off of it a little bit faster. Plus, like I said, that stability will help us in those middle to longer range fights for an SMG. And then we're still going to go with target lock, because in Crucible this thing does slap very hard. You could go something like Frenzy if you want, but I do think that target lock is the better option for that. Especially, that is why the Immortal is so good rangefinder with target lock. It absolutely annihilates Guardians, so this comes very close in range. And with perpetual target lock as our PvP God Roll, absolutely gnarly things you can do with this, so definitely be grinding out for that inside of PvP. Now, when we move on to the PvE realm, the aggressive frame right here, I'm going with the stability masterwork, because at those longer ranges, this thing does bounce around a decent amount since it is that 750 RPM. Now, for me, I am building this out for that stability as well as range, so I'm going with small bore, which, as you can see in the right corner down there, we have that 55 on range, 23 on stability. Now, when we move to magazine, there's two different options. I personally went with light mag because it gives us the reload speed up to 32 with a slight increase to range, and we still have 28 bullets. You could go with a pendant mag, which gives you 32 in the magazine, but it drops that reload down to 22. So that 4 bullets just didn't really make a positive difference in my personal opinion, so I went with light mag. Now, I'm still working on leveling this bad boy up, but for sure, I'm going to go with Envious Assassin as my enhanced trait. Defeating targets with other weapons before drawing this one transfers ammo to the magazine from the reserves. This effect overflows the weapon based on the number of defeats you get beforehand. So if you're using this with something like your Forbearance, where you're just wiping out waves of ads, this thing gets stacked up. That is also one of the reasons why that magazine, in my personal opinion, those 4 bullets don't matter, because we're going to have Envious on it anyways to overflow it. Now, same thing in our fourth column. I'm personally going with Headstone. Precision Final Blows spawn stasis crystals at our target's location. Definitely is great with that stasis synergy, which does make the stasis weapons pretty much one of their best perks is Headstone on all of them. Hand cannon, pulse, autos, whatever it is, because of that synergy and ability for it to wipe ads as well as freeze them. So definitely going with Headstone on this, in my opinion, for my God roll. Now, if you're trying to build it out a little bit more for DPS, for some of those champions, etc., you could go with 4th times the Tarm and Target Lock, obviously both enhanced versions of it, but you get that increased damage when you're doing the longer it's on the target. So the more damage you do, the longer this weapon has that for Target Lock, and then we're going to get rounds back. When we rapidly land precision, we'll land them back. So this is very, very nice with this SMG, especially if we're trying to do a little bit more damage, like I said, on those champions or something with those mini bosses. So hopefully you guys can get to grinding out these weapons. Season of the Deep engrams at the Helm, you can grab them from there. Completing the seasonal weekly quest on each of your characters rewards a decent amount of those red borders. It is a little random, but I have been able to craft 2 of my seasonal weapons basically just from doing those missions and those 3 sets of quests on each characters. So hopefully y'all can get those red borders soon and craft this bad boy. Add to our Stasis SMGs in our kinetic slot, because they do have a nice solid place for that stasis synergy. So thank you guys again for that support. Truly appreciate it. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.